Hello guys, welcome to another episode of Clues, Cues and Reviews, and today we're reviewing Fairy Tale 471, chapter named Until the Battle Ends. So before getting into the nitty gritty of the actual chapter itself, just want to get the normal formalities out of the way. I want to thank everyone that is watching my videos, for those that are commenting with positive comments as well as constructive comments as well. Please continue to do so. Thank you very much for doing so. If there's something you like in these videos, what I'm doing, please leave a thumbs up and leave it in the comment section below what you like, what I'm doing. On the flip side, if something you don't like what I'm doing, leave a thumbs down, but also leave it in the comments so I know what to work on. And as always, please subscribe. I will leave a thumbnail around about here so you can subscribe, and in the comment section below for those that are using a desktop computer and they can do it on the phones. So let's move on and get to reviewing this chapter. In summary of this chapter, it's a very simple chapter. We get to see a little bits and bats of in all different areas, starting off with the God's Arena situation, then back to Fairy Tale, and then the battle in the south. So there's a little mention about what's going on in the north, but very short and brief. So it's a relatively simple chapter. I've got 4 points on this 5-point review, and the fifth one is speculation and a few thoughts or things to come, I guess. But without further ado, let's get into the point. Point number one. Point number one is a continuation of what happened last week, where we saw Akhenologi in his human form take down God Serena, without much effort. So what we see here is the aftermath of that. God Serena is down and out. He doesn't look like he's getting up anytime soon. August is stopping Jacob Alessio, the guy called the mafioso dude, from doing anything, and he pretty much says, we can't beat this guy. So you can see that August is one of the wiser members. He kind of grasps the situation of what's going on, the power difference, and he's stopping Jacob from moving forward, because like he said earlier on, when we first saw August, he doesn't want to lose any comrades. He specifically mentions if we can get Fairy Heart to Zeref, then we have a chance of beating him, and they want to make haste and kind of get to Fairy Tale as soon as possible. At the Fairy Tale Guild, we see Natsu is still down, and there's conversations about what's going on elsewhere. Is everyone okay? How's Big Slaw doing? And generally the Thunder Tribe. So with them on their way, and with none of the major players or part of the guild at the moment actually at the headquarters, how do you think they will fare against somebody like August or somebody like Jacob? So that's point number one. Point number two, in the same kind of setting and same type of scene, we actually find out a little bit more about where these main players have gone. So we find out that Grey, Juvia, Laxus and Erza have all headed south. So they've all headed south to help in the battle at the South Port, helping Mermaid heal and Lamia scale effectively. We also find out an interesting little tidbit about Laxus. Laxus is still struggling and suffering from the issues that he had in the Tartarus arc, but he does say to Grey, A, keep this stuff to yourself, and B, I'm not going to die anytime soon. What could this mean for Fairy Tale as a whole? Because as far as I'm concerned, Laxus is a key member, a very powerful key member, to the point where he was stronger than Jura, and now that he's in this weakened state, how do you think he will fare against members of the Spriggan 12? So a little tidbit I wanted to put in there now, because that's an interesting key point that will make a big kind of impact on the future story to come. Point number three. So point number three is a little tidbit that we get in the north. It's a conversation really between Gajeel and Levy, and they both are aware of the situation. They're basically saying that, look, this is a situation we've never been in before, and there's a good chance we won't make it. And Gajeel in his own way is basically saying, look, whatever happens, we will survive. I will ensure it, and I will take you back and lock you in a cell for even thinking such things. So Gajeel in his own way shows that he cares and shows he's going to do everything he can possibly do to make sure Levy survives and win their fight. It's also interesting to bear in mind that in the north, so they're going to go against that Bradman dude who looks like something else. He's what he's called the god of death. So it's interesting to see how that'll fare out. Based on the direction of this chapter, at some point we are going to get that fight, but I don't think it's going to be immediate, and that's because of point number 4. So I'm going to get to that next. Point number 4. So as we mentioned earlier on, we know that Laxus, Erza, Grey, Juvia, Wendy are all pretty much heading south. The battle continues at the South Port, where Di Maria attacks one of the characters from Lamia Scale, Sherry, the Sky God Slayer magic user. Takes her clothes off. She's a bit of a pervert, or is it a male? I'm not sure at this point. And basically, thankfully, the fairy tale members arrive, to much to their surprise. It does set up the Sky Sisters versus Di Maria, but at the same time, with what happened to Kagura, and now Erza joining the fray, I'm hoping this by extension leads to that, or we get to see Kagura kind of get some vindication, I guess. At the same time, we also see that Laxus has gone in for the kill against Val-Ich, and Val-Ich even says, he goes, "What do you think you're doing, mate?" And he goes, "You hurt my friends," and that's how it ends. So that's an amazing setup for Laxus versus Val-Ich. I will talk a little bit about my final thoughts in part number 5. Part number 5. So the ending itself was amazing, a very hype ending. When I read this, bearing in mind that I've read this 3 or 4 times. The first time I read it, I was hyped as hell. Unfortunately, I read it at work, so I had to contain myself, otherwise I'll be thinking, what kind of weirdo is this getting excited looking at something on his computer? So I had to contain myself. But the setup in this chapter, and the extra tidbits we got away from the battles, is an interesting kind of portrayal of what could potentially happen. Now, it helps me makes me think about things that we've seen in other anime and other stories. For example, the Laxa situation is quite similar to how Zoro's situation was in One Piece, where in the beginning, like literally every battle he was hurt, he was weakened, so we didn't get to see his full capabilities. Now in the new world where he's been training, he's obviously a beast, but it's kind of giving me that kind of idea, because as powerful as Laxus is, we won't really get to see his everything. Now what I mean by that is, okay, he's going to dig deep, he's going to come out with something special, I'd imagine, for the situation, but being that he's in a weakened state, he's really not going to be able to go all out. It's a similar kind of thing with Natsu. Now, with Natsu kind of out of the picture for the time being, what will happen with the main plot point, I can honestly see is going to be a situation where South's going to get taken care of, North's going to get taken care of, and then the rest is going to happen. Now, the way the direction of this chapter was heading, it pretty much meant that the climax of this fight, this arc, this water, so to speak, is upon us. We are reaching the climax now, so we will find out some interesting tidbits, and I'm interested to see what's going to happen with these battles. Laxus, Erza, the Sky Sisters versus the Spriggans, especially what's going to happen in the north with Gajeel potentially going against Bradman. So it'll be interesting to find out what happens there. Also, we've got the fact that on the South Port, Nineheart hasn't even got involved. So will it be a situation where it's the Sky Sisters versus Di Maria? Will it be Erza and Kagura versus Nineheart, and then Gajeel and Laxus and Val-Ich? We'll have to wait and see. But, it's like little things like this. You can see that, okay, that plot point's out of the way for a second, and hopefully we can see Natsu come back. I think keeping him out of their way for the time being is going to lead to find out more about E&D, and potentially him getting to full power would be him kind of unleashing E&D, I guess. And then when I mean I'm referring to Zerf at this point. Could he be the final obstacle to see if we can beat Acnologia with? Because bearing in mind he's after all the Dragon Slayers, he's taken out this artificial one, was the 8th. So at some point he's going to have to go after the rest. Laxus is not in the best situation right now, so he's not going to be doing well. But will Acnologia attack once those battles have been settled, and attack while in the weaker situation? You would hope not, because you'd think Acnologia would at least try to fight on a fair battleground, and have like an enjoyable fight, or he could be ruthless and just go in for the kill and not really give two shits. I'm hoping that's not the case, because I don't want any of the fairy tale characters to die. Now, people complain about people dying or not dying all the time, but really this is not one of those times I want anyone to die. But anyway, that is the chapter. That is my 5-point review. Hope you like and enjoyed the chapter. Hope you like my review. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.